This is Blurring the Lines with Adam Bell and Peter Nicolaitis, IT entrepreneurs. Adam and Peter take on the topics of technology, business, life, and the pursuit of happiness and blur them together in the 21st century.
Okay, do you want to do the intro?
Sure. Ready in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1?
Go.
Good afternoon, good morning, or good evening, wherever it may be, whenever it is, wherever you are. Man, I'm already going off script. We haven't even gotten one line in.
Haven't gotten one paragraph done.
Not even a sentence. And I said we have a lot to get through today here, so it's going to be a long one, I can tell. But welcome to another thrilling fun fact. All right, that's it. We're starting over.
No more day drinking for you.
No, we're done. We're done. Start over and take two. This is Blurring the Lines podcast, episode 95, take two. Good afternoon, good morning, or evening, and welcome to another fun-filled episode of the Blurring the Lines podcast. I am your host, Peter Nicolaitis, and with me, as always, my co-host, his name.
His name is...
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I'm supposed to not read that. I'm supposed to say Adam Bell.
And it is. I am his name, Adam Bell.
Someone responds.
Yeah. I'm somebody. Well,
you're someone. I don't know about somebody, but you are someone.
Hey, Peter. How you doing?
Wonderful. Thanks for asking. How about you?
I am also doing wonderful. It's been a busy week, but not like crazy busy, just regular busy.
Just regular busy. So real quick, let's jump right into it. How many hours did you work last week?
Oh, I wish you wouldn't ask me things like that.
Well, you shouldn't put questions and topics like that into the show notes.
Oh yeah, I worked too much. I didn't no. So I put a good 50 plus hours in and did not get 50 plus hours of work back out of me.
I was just gonna say you put in 50, put 50 in, but you didn't get 50 out.
Yeah. So shame on me, but I'll do better next week.
I had a fairly average work week for the hospital. Not a lot of side stuff on the consulting gigs, but I'm teaching yoga 3, maybe soon 4 days a week now. So, oh, right. And I go back to school on Monday.
You know what's funny is when I met you, I guess 5 years ago now, it was in 2014, I would have never said, in 5 years, you'll be back in college and a yoga instructor.
Yep. I don't think I saw that coming either. Either of those.
Yeah. But you didn't stop doing anything else you were doing. You're just doing this on top.
Well, sort of. I have stopped practicing Aikido since then.
Yeah.
But I filled it in with Krav Maga, which I haven't been doing for the last couple of months because of rotator cuff injuries. But health update. Doctor says seems like a minor strain. You know, maybe it was a minor little tear in the rotator cuff, but do your physical therapy, exercise, and sometime next week get back into regular ease back into my normal routines.
Punch easily.
That's right. So I'm happy about that.
That is good.
Yeah, he didn't. You know, it was just like, look, if it doesn't get better after a few weeks, then we'll, go to radiology. Get an MRI or something and stuff. But he did some tests and says that it doesn't feel that serious. So essentially, I took 2 months off and let it kind of heal. And now, all right, now the healing's done. Now let's build those muscles back up again. So. So that's what I'm doing. So I may step out every now and then while we're recording and, toss some weights around while you're talking. So don't be surprised if that happens.
All right. And we're recording video too, so it'll be awesome.
Right. I wanted to give the people on camera something to look at. Toss a kettlebell around. I couldn't do this 2 weeks ago.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm very happy without extreme pain.
Well,
which stopped me from doing it. Therefore, I couldn't do it.
Yeah. Well, for our listeners who are only listening, Peter did have his shirt still on. So You don't have to go looking for the video. We'll maybe look for that later.
It's a different podcast.
That's a different podcast. This one's a rated G podcast.
Rated G. G for good. Goodness.
Goodness. All right. So this week, well, I used to only drink my own home brew because I didn't care for microbreweries because they didn't get to us very fresh. I mean, if you had unfresh beer or
Unfresh.
It may taste like cardboard or skunky or whatever. So these days I'm more apt to try microbrew stuff. I mean, because it's getting there fast and it's good. So I tried Sierra Vesa, which is made by Sierra Nevada.
Sierra Vesa.
But it's pretty good. It's kind of like I guess it's supposed to be a cerveza. I didn't actually read to see if it had German ale yeast in it or not, but they're calling it a Sierra Vesa. I put a lime in it. It was good. No headache. So it's better than Bud Light Lime.
No headache is always a plus.
Yeah.
I have purchased but not yet had either of these two, but Omegang, my favorite brewery, has two new ones. One is the a Game of Thrones limited edition.
Right.
It's called For the Throne. And then another limited edition called their Saison Rosé.
Okay.
Saison Rosé is oak-aged Saison brewed with hibiscus flowers and Chardonnay grapes.
That'll be interesting.
And the For the Throne is a strong golden ale fermented with Pinot Grigio.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm kind of interested in both of those. I'm not big, I guess I've had Chardonnays from time to time. It's not my, not my go-to.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm kind of curious now, like sort of essentially combining beer and wine here.
Yeah.
So, it'll be interesting.
Have you ever had hibiscus water?
Probably.
I mean, it is taking hibiscus and mixing it in water and, maybe adding a little bit of sugar. So it's kind of like making lemonade, but with flowers. And I had it in Mexico the first time, and they literally took hibiscus flowers and dumped them in the water, and it tasted like water with flowers in it. Go figure. And and I didn't really like it all that much. I mean, it was a refreshing drink as far as like it was better than water alone, and It was still healthy.
Right.
So I drank it and I didn't really care for it. And that's funny. I came back to the States and I had it at some party and I was like, this tastes just like when I was in Mexico. Then I liked it.
It reminds me of a better time.
So I'd be interested to see what that tastes. Well, you have to tell me what that tastes like fermented, because it's not the same. When you put something in a beer, you get an essence of it. You don't necessarily get that flavor.
Right. Yeah.
So
hints of cherries and
like
notes of vanilla. Mm-hmm. And then there's raspberry, Hefeweizen, which is like, this is raspberry juice.
Yeah. Drink the raspberry juice. Okay.
Exactly. So anyway, we will hopefully I will report back and give an update on what those taste like.
Mm-hmm. So, all right, moving on.
All right. So the next one, the word we need to use, it's pronounced dingus.
Dingus. So you want to know what's funny is I played the recording of what you asked Dingus, and she responded correctly from mine.
Yeah. and when I did it, so I forget what that was, but I asked.
You were asking for the scores.
Right. So Dingus, the Amazon Dingus, that is, in case you have any wondering, told me the other day, because I have 3 Echo Dots, 1 Echo Spot, and I have her integrated in my Sonos Beam. So the Echo Spot I keep in the kitchen, just sitting on the microwave where it, it can't do much harm. I walked into the microwave. That sounds painful. Walked into the kitchen last week, and on the screen it says, try saying, Dingus, what are the sports scores?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember what she said when I said it, but like, oh, that's right. And I knew that day there was a Celtics game.
Mm-hmm.
So given that I'm in the greater Boston metropolitan area and sports and basketball and the Celtics are kind of a big deal, and she knows my location, I figured, she'll give me the score.
Yeah.
She came back and told me she couldn't find any sports scores.
There were no sports activities.
There were no sports activities. That's what it was. Yes. I was just like, why did you even tell me to ask you that question? It's like someone saying, hey, you want a beer? I'm like, yeah, I'd love one. I'm like, well, we don't have any.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, exactly. I think the correct response to that is, yeah, okay, thanks.
Thanks. All right.
So that's our little bit of techie as we warm up into the tech realm too.
Mm-hmm.
What were you doing? Going back to school? I thought I was going to school.
No. So High Point University, Nido Qubein is the president out there, and he has spoken twice, maybe 3 times at Robin events, and the reason that he has spoken is he really turned that university around from when he got there. They had $100 million in deferred maintenance on the campus and were barely making it by. They were just struggling, and he's really turned that place around. And it's really an amazing facility. The student body is healthier as far as like number of students that are coming, the tuition. They pay like $50,000 per year for tuition. So it's pretty high, but I mean, and they own a ton of property now. You have to look it up. The footprint has gone way up. But so Nido, he's 70 years old. So he has been there since 2005. So 14 years going on 15 years, he's really transformed this school. But he didn't just learn there. So he's been a businessman for a long time, has a lot of rapport in previous industries. So him coming there was really kind of an oddity, because, he went from the business world to the private university world, and took what he knew as an entrepreneur and really made it work and raised money and marketed and sales. And so we were meeting with him and hearing about what he did to turn it around, as well as, out of his repertoire of business. I mean, he's 70 years old and been in business. He's Lebanese and came over. He was born in Lebanon and came over as an immigrant, like at like 9. So, just what he's done with his life and in business is a great feat, and it was really good to listen to him, and got a number of good gems of knowledge and wisdom there. So, but it was really cool. It was really impressive. If you're ever down there, you ought to at least like swing through and visit it. But but you can see it online too. They've got tons of media. They mark every surface is a marketing opportunity. And I can't say that I blame them. I mean, but while we were there, so Bill Wright went with me. I mean, not together. We both went to the event and met there. And then while we were there, we went and had lunch with Tim Richter.
What was he doing there?
He wasn't there, but he was close. He's in Raleigh-Durham area.
Gotcha.
And so we were about an hour away. I mean, if I'm an hour outside of Boston, I'm coming to have lunch with you.
Darn right. And when I'm down in Nashville again, I'll be over as well.
Yeah.
On that note, so if your listeners don't recognize the names, because we've never had Bill on the podcast, but Bill is one of your accountability buddies and business development partners.
Yeah, it just feels
Yeah.
like we've had him on, but I guess we haven't.
We haven't. Unless I've forgotten all about him, because he is kind of forgettable. So I suppose. Wait,
No, not that guy.
who? Wait, no, I don't remember. Anyway, cool. So High Point University. That sounds like fun.
Yeah, so it was very cool. I mean, they had some nice places to relax and fountains and all the. I mean, just everything was top notch. Somebody who visited said it was kind of the Disney of colleges. There's no trash anywhere, like, and and he's kind of set that precedence of, if there's trash, he sees it, he'll pick it up.
Right.
He's
Yep.
so.
So how much has Robin Robbins paid that guy or does he pay her or stuff? What's the do you think?
Well, I know she paid him to come speak,
Right.
and I'm sure it was not cheap
Uh-huh.
because he told us he turned down a CEO position to leave the university for $10 million. That's what he turned down. Not that he
Quality of life might have something to do with it. Too.
Quality of life might have. I mean, we didn't go there for free.
Right.
I had to pay money to go visit. Elizabeth said, "Well, that was stupid," but
I like Elizabeth more and more. Oh, that was stupid.
But so I don't know that I got like my money's worth out of it, but it wasn't a waste of money. Because I think
that was stupid.
Yeah.
Oh, brother. All right, moving on.
Moving on.
All right, real quick. Avengers Endgame. Seen it?
Yep. I have not seen it. I saw what was the prequel to that? Or not prequel, it was not a prequel, but the
Infinity War.
Infinity War. So I saw the end of the Infinity War, and that's I've only seen some of the Avengers stuff off and on.
Well, we will put in a link if somebody is interested. There was at least one theater that was doing all of the Avengers movies going back to 2008 Iron Man.
Yep.
And playing them in a marathon for 59 hours straight leading up to Endgame.
Yeah. You sent me a link to that. And I love Iron Man.
Yeah.
That's I've got that. I own that DVD.
I had that as well, and I don't think I have a DVD player anymore. But anyway, I saw it. I liked it. IMDb, as of this morning, was giving it a 9 out of 10.
Really?
Yeah. And my plan is to go see it again tonight. I do have a ticket, just me this time, but I'm feeling kind of tired. The weather has got me down. It's raining. I was planning on doing a 4.5 to 5 mile run today. I've been ramping back up again, adding a couple, like 0.2 of a mile each run.
Right.
And I was at 4.4, and today I had one point I just said, I'm just going to go for 5. I'm just going to do it, get it out of the way, and boom, hit 5 miles. I can't even. I can't even.
I can't even.
I'm just tired today. I don't know what. And I feel like I need more sleep. But then on top of that, I teach yoga tonight in 2 hours, and then my Endgame tickets are for 8, which means it goes until 11.
Oh.
So I might just pass on that and go see it again next week or something.
Yeah.
So I was just like, oh.
It did amuse me in Infinity Wars, and I won't. It's not even a spoiler alert, and I'm not even going to quote it, but Samuel L. Jackson said something that just made me really laugh. I was like, yes. right at the end.
Oh.
Yeah.
He does that a lot.
Yeah.
Overall, I enjoyed it a lot. It definitely it has a bit of a slow start. There's a little bit of a buildup.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a bit of a lull, through a long extended portion. But then the end is just, it's epic battle. And they incorporated a lot of stuff from the comic books. They veered a little bit away from some of the comic books in who lives and who dies and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And big surprise, it involves time travel. Big surprise there, given that one of the Infinity Stones was the Time Stone, and Doctor Strange used it and stuff. But I really liked how they did it, and it was, well, I mean, I liked it enough. I want to see it again. So
yeah, well, cool.
And not just waiting for Netflix or Blu-ray or whatnot.
Yeah.
So anyway, real quick yoga update. Now that I have been teaching yoga for a year, I am officially certified. Yeah, I'm officially an RYT 200. So
I've done like an early version of R2D2.
It's just like R2D2, exactly. I am now. Yeah, no, I've got my cert, and I've still done over 470 hours of training. So I'm just waiting. I need to give some feedback to some of my other colleagues. I need to receive the feedback that they've given me on some of my videos. And then I have to finish an essay on ethics in yoga. And then I will be eligible for my 500-hour certification. But that doesn't kick in until you've taught for 100 hours after getting your 200-hour certification.
Yeah, that's 11.75 weeks of training that you've done for yoga.
Yeah, it's like a year in college. Yeah, it really is. It's if you average it out, it's like a 1 year of college.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I guess I'm pretty serious about this.
Seems to be.
I haven't decided yet.
You're gonna make your own YouTube channel, right?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yep. Yoga with Peter.
Yoga with Peter.
Yoga with Peter. I should probably just reserve that channel name now before it's gone. But anyway, yeah. So it's official that I can do that, and I was also approved to be added to my local studio where I train, to be added to their substitute teachers list too. So when my main yin teacher, can't make class for whatever reason, then, it sounds like I'm the go-to sub for that. So that'll be fun.
All right.
Like teaching at home sort of thing. So.
But I guess you've become comfortable with that. I mean, like running the class and everything.
Well, I teach now all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, the first time I teach there, it would probably be just a tiny bit unnerving, because it's like, wait, I'm not supposed to be facing this direction.
Yeah.
I usually face this way. What's going on? I don't get it. Yeah. Yeah, that would be fun, and definitely more convenient too than the place where I teach now. It's like a 20 to 30 minute drive depending on traffic.
Yeah.
And I don't know what Nashville traffic is like, but like if I say a 20 to 30 minute drive back in Vermont or New Hampshire where I grew up, that's a 20 to 30 mile drive.
Uh-huh.
Here, a 20 to 30 minute drive is more like 2.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's pretty bad. I mean, it's bad here. I mean, it takes me an hour to drive 19 miles to church.
Yeah. So, yeah, similar, but maybe even a little worse.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's an update. But yeah, I'm doing that, and I just sent out email to a bunch of my clients, my former and current students, and I will be offering classes at my home studio as well.
Sweet.
Which you can sort of see a little bit behind me. The exercise equipment gets shoved off to the side and hidden behind shoji screens. So
yeah.
And then yeah, so I'm looking here at the show notes on my other screen, and I just got signed out of Google Docs for some reason.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks. I guess we'll just ad lib it from here. So.
All right. Well, the next topic was our gear. So I've got the iPad Pro 11, and you've got Samsung Chromebook XE501C13.
Which sounds like a tax filing status.
Yeah, that's the not-for-profit because you didn't make enough money class.
That is exactly it. Yes, if you are a nonprofit and you can't afford a real computer, you would buy this Chromebook. All right, so we will have links to both the models. iPads, not quite, but darn near top of the line iPad Pro.
Yep.
and my not quite but darn near bottom of the line Chromebook. Okay, let me put it this way. I never put stickers or anything on my computers and stuff because I'm like, I don't want to deface them and stuff. This is how much I care about this thing.
Oh yeah, you got stickers on it. That's awesome.
I got stickers. I went to linuxstickers.com and spent my dollar and bought a bunch of them.
Is that like a 16-bit unicorn?
Yeah, that's a 16-bit Splunk unicorn.
Splunk unicorn, nice.
Yep. It's another one of my favorite podcasts. Vim or VI, my favorite editor on the Unix platform. Debian, my favorite distribution. And what the hell, Champlain College, because I'm going back to Champlain to get my degrees there. And
might as well.
On the other side, I have a Bash sticker on this side, and of course the obligatory Linux Inside.
Linux Inside, nice. I also have a Chromebook.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, it's a Dell.
Dell, yep.
Mm-hmm.
So just for comparison, like, what did you pay for that?
I think I paid $200 for it like 4 years ago.
So expensive. So as I think I mentioned it on the podcast, but obviously we didn't go into it. I bought this as my burner laptop.
Mm-hmm.
And this was for my trip abroad, so that if I had any trouble at the border or whatnot, I was just like, keep it.
Yeah.
Whatever. Right. Plus, I'm not paranoid about it, but just the idea of some, border guard wanting to like dive into my stuff and rifle through my data. I don't like that idea. You know, it's like, I'm a citizen of both countries that I'm traveling to and from here. Hands off. So I got a Chromebook because it's very easy to just wipe. And then, when you log back into it, you get all your stuff back.
Mm-hmm.
So and you can do similar stuff like this too now. Macintoshes, you can sign in with your Apple ID to a Mac. Microsoft, you can sign in with your Microsoft account. Supposedly soon, Microsoft, if not already, but in a new or upcoming version of Windows 10, you'll be able to log in using your Google account. So just like you can log into a Chromebook, you'd be able to log into Windows.
Okay.
So I was like, all right, that sounds kind of cool. Anyway, I mean, in a nutshell, it's cheap. It runs Chrome OS, so it's a stripped down, lightweight version of Linux. And mine is rather underpowered.
Yeah.
It's pretty wimpy. It's decent for single tasking, right?
Yeah.
So if you're just spinning up a browser and checking your Gmail, it's wonderful. You want to fire up another window and check the status of the flight that you're connecting to, great, no problem. You want to do that and have Evernote and Microsoft Word and Excel plus a terminal in the background and Signal Private Messenger and maybe Slack. You're going to start hating it and yourself.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have a lot of resources. It's pretty sluggish at times, but I was able to put all those apps onto it. Citrix, so I can do the Citrix workspace, so I can access all of the work apps at the hospital, and Dropbox, OneDrive, Google Drive, they're all on there. One thing I've noticed though is that the Chrome apps for most of these, most of the Chrome apps that I've seen that are Chrome specific, so like Microsoft Word, Outlook, even Slack, they're really kind of feature incomplete compared to the full-on desktop versions.
Yeah.
And somewhat harder to use. I noticed that for whatever reason, one of the things, like if I use the arrow keys on the keyboard and I go too far down on the bottom of an Evernote document, just using the down arrow, it will move me out of the text area where I'm editing something and move me like into the Windows control zone. So I'm like where, I would normally be like minimizing or resizing or modifying the document's metadata.
Right.
Not editing the document anymore, which is just weird. Because like if you're in Microsoft Word and you're typing and you hit the down arrow button, you can hold the down arrow button all day. It's not going to bring you up to the file menu. Right?
Yeah.
That would be just weird, right?
Uh-huh.
So that's the sort of just weird behavior that I had in Evernote. plus Word, like the features in the version are more like the online versions that you would find for, so like Office 365 Online or Google Docs.
Right.
Definitely feels more like that than a full-on copy of Microsoft Word.
Mm-hmm.
So I found I was able to edit stuff, but really most of the work I was doing was like in a pinch. It was not a pleasant experience. And the main thing that I would do is open up my VPN connection and just remote desktop back to my full-on Windows machine.
Yeah.
Where I have the full versions of everything I needed, which was great, except that sometimes the remote desktop connection stops working.
Yes.
And for no reason. And this happened both when I was out, remote on VPN, but also sitting downstairs in my living room, RDPing to my box on the 3rd floor in the office.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a little weird. And then it wouldn't reconnect for whatever reason. And sometimes I'd have to reboot the entire Chromebook to get it to reconnect.
Yeah.
That was a little bit annoying.
Mm-hmm.
And, so it's like, okay, I could go upstairs, 2 flights of stairs to go and print out this document, or I can just do it right from here on my Chromebook, which is at my left. Grab the Chromebook, fire up RDP, authenticate into the machine. Okay, by now I would have been halfway upstairs.
Yeah.
Find the document, go to print. Oh, connection drops.
Oh.
Like,
all right, now I am going to walk up.
you should have just gotten that step count in from the get-go.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I would say solid 80% of the users out there, this thing would be just fine.
Yeah.
My dad would be fine with this.
Mm-hmm.
Right. They're like assuming the hardware would be supported. So
Right.
He has an oddball scanner of some sort. So of course he would want to make sure he could use the scanner. But like literally most people these days spent most of their time in a browser or maybe another little app like, a messaging app, WhatsApp, Facebook, Messenger, Slack, Signal. Okay, now I'm getting into the weeds. But anyway, lots of apps. Most of the stuff in the Google Play Store is stuff that you would find like in the Android store or similar to what you would find in the Apple iOS store.
Mm-hmm.
So large support for various different apps. And it's cheap. I told you this was a burner thing. I got this on Amazon for like $175.
Okay.
So, I was like, that was what I wanted. Design wise, it's not beautiful. It's a brick. It looks like an old school laptop.
Yeah.
Battery life is amazing.
Yeah.
I have never gone close to running low on the batteries on this thing. And I have used it for the better part of the day. And then I'll still look at it and it's like, oh yeah, you've got 2 hours of battery life left. I'm like, okay. And then an hour later I look at it and it's like, yeah, you've got like an hour 50 of battery life left. Like,
yeah.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
I did enable Linux in it, which is just a setting now. It used to be you had to do the equivalent of like jailbreaking these things.
Right.
But now you just go into Chrome settings and there's a little checkbox or a little slider button where you say, yes, enable Linux features. And so when you do that, now you can actually get a terminal. So, and it's a Debian-based thing. So it's using apt, which is my preferred package manager on Linux. So that's cool. Because now I have a terminal and stuff. But again, when it gets bogged down, I click on terminal and I have to wait sometimes like 30 seconds before the terminal window actually shows up.
Yeah.
So, but again, from there, I'm usually just going to do an SSH connection to some remote server somewhere and do my work. But it's cool. I mean, for $175, 100 whatever, it's well worth every penny.
Yeah.
And, for traveling, if you're going to be traveling and you are, if the thought of having your computer taken from you at the border, or the thought of somebody going through all of your private data and personal communications and photos and music and whatnot, if that bothers you in the slightest, buy one of these. Leave your real thing at home. Don't forget also when you're crossing the border to wipe your phone first too, because chances are you actually have more private data there than you do on your computer these days.
Yeah.
But that's what I did. Just, I just wiped everything out. And then when I was through and my sanity, my paranoia level was appeased, I just restored. And all I did with the Chromebook is just logged back in again. And it's like, okay, we're syncing all your apps, we're logging you in, all your settings are coming back, and everything was fine.
Mm-hmm. Do you not, you mentioned wiping your phone. Do you not feel good about the encryption that's on your phone?
There's that whole being compelled to give your passcode or a thumbprint.
Oh yeah, you just they could take your thumb and use your thumb to print it, I guess. Yeah.
The first thing I did, actually, as I was leaving, I didn't actually wipe the phone on my way back from Germany. I just turned off Touch ID. So the only way to open it was with a passcode. Obviously, like if you have a newer iPhone, you'd want to turn off Face ID, so because you can imagine, I've heard theories. I haven't actually heard of it happening. But, cop comes up, arrests you, takes your phone, says, unlock your phone. You say no, and he does this.
Yeah, he could.
He shows the phone to you, and suddenly the phone says, oh, hey, Adam, how you doing? And opens it up, right? So.
Yeah, that's very true.
And again, no, I have nothing to hide. That's right. But in this country, we have a right to privacy. And if we don't exercise our rights, we will lose our rights. There are numerous examples throughout history. Look them up if you don't believe me.
Yeah, I think though, if I were coming back from Germany and they wanted in my phone, or they were going to offer me something bad, I would just give it to them. I'm like, yeah, go for it. There's nothing in there. I mean, you'll be bored out of your mind.
What if you were coming back from China and they wanted to do that? Or you're going to China?
Going to China, I guess I'd just turn around and go home. But if I were going to try to get out of the country and the only way was to leave behind my phone unlocked to a Chinese official, I guess I'd do that and figure out changing passwords and stuff later, just because, I mean, I don't have anything that would warrant bodily harm or,
Well, I'm thinking more like what they might tag along, what might tag along for the ride after they had their hands on your phone.
Oh, no. Now, if they took my phone away from me, at any point of time, that phone would get a wipe and reload.
Right. But I don't think that would be sufficient.
Oh, yeah, the hardware.
Yeah. So, case in point, I used to have a client who had offices in Massachusetts and Shanghai. And we had given them some hardware. So funny story. Paradigm Consulting successfully was able to circumvent the Great Firewall of China for 4 years. And we probably would have been able to do it longer, but that client closed up their Shanghai offices.
Mm-hmm.
We lost that
you were Shanghaied.
They were Shanghaied, not us. But it was something about the Shanghai people were ripping off their designs or something. I don't remember. But Shocking. Anyway,
no, say it ain't so.
Yeah. So they got the equipment back, and they're like, yeah, we can send it back to you. And I said, I don't want it. I mean, it might have been an interesting academic exercise just to open it up and see what, if anything, had been done to the firewalls on there.
Yeah.
So like, you could not pay me enough to deploy that hardware anywhere ever again. As far as I'm concerned, that's a brick. I'm not touching it.
Yeah. That wasn't the server that you sold me, is it?
No.
No, not that. No. Oh, no.
That server, that Dell PowerEdge, what was that, a 2600 or something? I don't remember.
It's like an R20, I mean.
R320?
Yeah, something there.
Decent little 1U, 1 or 2U box. Forget, it was beefy. It was not cheap, right?
Mm-hmm.
We replaced that with an Intel NUC. That was an example of a client not knowing what they needed, grossly over-speccing and telling us what they were going to be needing, for data storage requirements. So we got this beefy rack mount server to the tune of thousands of dollars. Mm-hmm. And we put it in there and started using it and never used 10% of its capacity.
Yeah.
And so after a year of that, I said, this is ridiculous. I need to sell this. And my good friend Adam Bell had a use for it. So great. We sold it there, and I replaced it with a $79, or little jobby there. So.
Yeah. Well, it is still in production right now. It is on a client site as a loaner server where I've got a restored VM on it.
Solid box, you know?
Yeah.
There you go.
Still going.
Cool. All right. Well, tell us about your iPad.
So I got the new iPad. Well, and just so I got the iPad Pro 11, and I got it with the new Apple II Pencil. Not Apple II, Apple Pencil number 2.
Apple Pencil 2.
Apple Pencil 2.
The Apple number 2 pencil. Got it.
Yeah. I still don't know that I have the actual like really good use for the pencil in the way that I do things. My writing is so big and so poor, I'm better off typing so that I can read it and whoever else can read it. It is nice for highlighting and doing things, doing documentation and things like that. I do like the pencil for that. And it's got the ability to double tap on it, and you can program what the double tap is. So like you can you could make it switch between like different pens, or you can go from a pencil to eraser. That's the default setting. Right. So you're writing, you double tap, you erase, you double tap, and you go back to pencil, which is pretty cool.
Yep. So
that's cool. The size wise, I was worried that it was going to be too much bigger, but it's not bigger. It is slightly thicker though. I've got a case, and I had a case on the other one, but it is slightly thicker. I don't know, maybe 1/8 of an inch thicker from the other one.
Yep.
Because the other one had a beveled edge, but the sound quality is good. The face recognition is very easy.
Yep.
It seems to work every time. The only time that it doesn't work, it happens to be that the way that I hold the iPad when I've got it horizontal, my thumb is over the camera. So I have to make sure that my thumb is not over the camera. But other than that, and it's really fast. The browsing is fast. I didn't expect browsing to be faster. I expected other things to be faster, like applications opening and photos and things like that, opening faster. But those really came out, it really came out good. So,
well, what people often forget, there are so many factors which determine the speed of an application now. So people think like the primary factor on like a web page loading or browsing and stuff would be your internet connection, and that used to be true like 20 years ago when web pages were text and some graphics. And it was how long is it going to take to shove all that data down your dial-up modem down the pipe to get it to you,
right? But
then web pages have really evolved, and now they've all become programs.
Yeah.
So you're really executing lots and lots of code and stuff, and more of that has been coming down to the client side, which is another reason why the Chromebook sometimes falls a little bit short on performance. Web pages can be pretty darn time intensive process, resource intensive. So, I'm not surprised that browsing might, have improved, especially because you've got gigabit at the office now normally, right?
Yeah, I've got gigabit at home, and then I've got gigabit at office and home.
Yeah. So, that's not where you're going to see your bottleneck as much. So, yeah, cool.
And for our techies, server-side script or client-side scripting.
There you go.
So you can see here, so I got the case, and this is pretty cool. The case has room for the pencil. So you can take the pencil with you, because that was a real inconvenience from the Apple One pencil. And then you see it goes away. It's in the case as a slight extension, because I would never take the Apple One pencil because it never stayed charged. And the only way you could connect it was this fixed lightning connection on it. And you could put that in the iPad, and the iPad would charge it. But how inconvenient is it for you to have a pencil sticking out of your iPad?
I still can't believe that was something that Apple actually did. That just looked so not Apple.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, I would have thought they would given you like, I don't know, maybe even like a 3-inch a lightning dongle so that it
Yeah.
could hang off of it or whatever. But I was like, okay, well, that's junk. So like I said, I don't use the pencil a ton, but now I can take it with me all the time. And I know it will be charged when I want to use it. Like if I'm sitting on an airplane, because sometimes I'll read the news, or I'll read like the Nashville Business Journal, and I might want to highlight potential clients that I want to contact, and I can highlight them and send them off to Elizabeth, and she can get to work on them. So, but overall, I'm pleased with it. It's fast. It's not any heavier. It is slightly bigger, but we're talking, like I said, an eighth of an inch and maybe a quarter of an inch wider. So it's got all the fun stuff. Yeah. Now so it's funny though, you had said, I sent you, hey, I got the new iPad 11. You said, oh, somebody's business is doing well. So it is an expensive iPad, but it's not any more expensive than the phone. I mean, it was $1,200. It was $1,200 for the iPad with the pencil. That's the same as the XR or the
XS.
XS, yeah, XS and XR. But Verizon has such a decent deal on it. I'm only paying $60 a month for it. So I was like, I'm not gonna, and I'm gonna pay like $70 in interest over a 2-year term.
Yeah.
And I did pay for the $10 of insurance on it.
Yep.
It's like, $240 of insurance. Worst case.
Is that Apple Care or is that a separate Verizon plan?
It's a third party to.
Okay.
It's a third party to Verizon. Did
you not get Apple Care?
No, I didn't get Apple. I probably could get Apple Care. I didn't. I just went with the $10 Verizon. And it was pretty good. If I dropped, it had coverage for accidental.
Right.
So if I dropped it, if I spilled on it, they covered that and replaced that.
Accidents and idiocy coverage.
Yeah.
The Apple Care has, I think that's now called Apple Care Plus, where that includes accidents and stuff too. You have a dog.
I have a dog.
But they also, Apple Care gives you longer technical support if you need it. And frankly, I rarely ever use it for that.
Yeah.
It's just because generally the questions and the problems I have, they're bugs.
Yeah.
So essentially, when I'm reporting questions and problems like that, it's this is a bug report. So I don't know that I need to pay for the privilege of being able to tell you that your stuff's broken. I'll do it for free.
Yeah.
So, but I usually get the Apple Care thing just because it's like one less party to have to deal with, and it's kind of a known quantity for me. And I deal with AT&T, and you can argue as to which is the evil of two lessers there between them and Verizon. But I just don't know if I want to deal with AT&T when the chips are down and I'm having a problem with my phone. With Apple.
So on your phone, did you lose the home button on it with the XR and the XS?
I have an 8.
You have an 8. Okay. So you lose the home button. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I had to learn it, and it'll be fine. I just had to learn how to deal without having a home button because I was so used to, I flip it up, I lay my thumb on it, it unlocks it, and then wherever I am, I press it again, I get me to the home page and I can do whatever. Well, now there's no button. So you've got at the bottom, so you pull from the bottom to bring up your home page. And I like to pull from the bottom for my, flashlight, whatever. But I knew that they'd already changed that on the iPad, that wasn't there anymore. You had to take 2 fingers and drag down for the right-hand corner to get the airplane mode and the flashlight and all that stuff. I was like, okay, so I was kind of used to that. But now in order to get home, you got to pull up from the bottom. Well, okay, you know how to do that. Okay, how do I get the task manager to end tabs? So you've got to pull up and hold for 2 seconds, and then they show up and you can start doing those.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay.
Not sure I like these workflows so much.
Workflow. Oh, so how important to you is screenshot on your iPad?
Well, given that I currently don't have an iPad, it's not important to me at all.
It's not important.
It used to be kind of a big deal. I used to take screenshots a lot.
Yeah, I take a lot of screenshots, especially, in the tech support business. That's a good way to take pictures of stuff. And then as far as like providing documentation, but I actually do a lot of screenshots, and there's no home button. So how do I take a screenshot? So now you have to hit the power button and the volume button at the same time to take a screenshot.
Yep.
That is not convenient at all.
Yeah, I mean, I managed to handle that on the iPhone pretty easily, but I can see how that could be, cumbersome on the iPad.
Yeah.
Especially if you had the 12 point, the 12.9? Is that the biggest size?
Yeah.
Fumbling around with two hands grabbing the thing. So I could see that could become inconvenient.
Yeah. Well, and it's not, depending on how you have it oriented, it may not be right where you want it. And I'm like, I just wish they weren't so afraid of buttons. We could have a button.
A button.
I wonder though, you can reprogram those buttons. There may be a way to program the button to be a screenshot of one of those buttons or something. And then, the other thing that I didn't like, you cannot hold down the power button to shut it off. You got to go into settings and go to shut off.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
So I don't know what that, that was the emergency when the iPad was locked up. You could hold down that power button and eventually get it off. Maybe I just haven't held it long enough.
Yeah, they definitely in the last few, hardware revs though, they have changed things, because I forget what was, I guess, just holding power button would turn off, but then one of them was, I don't even remember what it is now. One of them will dial emergency services for you if you press and hold, or if you tap it a few times. I forget what it is now. I should probably know that.
Yeah.
But I remember the behavior changing at one point, and I was caught off guard because I had to explain to the Massachusetts State Police why I was calling them.
Oops.
Like, no, no, I'm safe. It's okay. I called by accident. Yes, sir, but you hung up. I know. I hung up because I didn't want to bother you.
Yeah. I learned that you don't hang up. Stay on the line.
Sorry.
Tell them it was a mistaken call. Sorry.
I'm an idiot.
Well, in the voice over IP implementations that we do, we've got to test the 911 before we release it to the client. So we have to say that, call 911, say, this is a test call, I guess, so that they can prioritize you, and they tell you, hey, well, we can't talk to you right now. We're busy, I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm.
But I said, this is a test call. I need to confirm the address that is showing up in caller ID. And then they say, return the address, and then you're good. And then, so it usually doesn't take too long, but add that volume up of all IT guys around all over the place. They could have a lot of test calls.
Mm-hmm. All right. What else we got?
Let's see. I think that is the extent of what we had scripted.
All right. I have a nifty.
Nifty. Okay. What kind of nifty?
Microsoft Edge Insiders.com.
Microsoft Edge Insiders?
I think it's plural. Let me find out. Edge Inside. Maybe it's Insider. I'll tell you in a moment. Singular. Microsoft Edge Insider.com. That is the home of the development channel of the Microsoft Edge browser.
Okay.
Now, if you have had if you've had Windows 10, you have used, most likely, probably by accident, the Microsoft Edge browser.
Because I thought it was Internet Explorer.
Right. because it looks kind of like it, because it's got a big E icon, and it's the default web browser, and it's garbage. So Microsoft released Edge, and the plan was going to be it does not support any add-ons, and it's going to be super lightweight and locked down. It was originally it was codenamed Spartan because it was supposed to be so Spartan in its
Right.
In its approach to things. They found out very quickly that was not going to work, and they kept Internet Explorer 11 around as a compatibility layer, because, which most people I think ended up making the default browser or just downloading Chrome or Firefox. Well, about a month ago, they finally threw in the towel. Microsoft gave up and said, you know what, we're giving up. And now Edge moving forward will be built on Chromium. So essentially it's Google Chrome, right?
Yeah.
But it's got all of the Google-ness stripped out. So you don't sign into like your Google account with it. You can sign into your Microsoft account with it. And of course, by default, Bing is the search engine. That's the only thing I don't like about it. So, but I've been using it, and it's pretty slick. It's lightweight. It's definitely lighter weight than Chrome. It definitely seems to have less cruft accumulated in it.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I did import all my settings. I pulled all my bookmarks over from Chrome and installed pretty much all the same add-ons because you can install Chrome apps from the Chrome App Store into Edge, which I just still, it's like my mind boggles when I think about that. It's like, yeah, I need to install, LibreOffice from the Debian repositories on my Windows machine. Just like there's a little bit of a cognitive disconnect here, but it's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I'm doing the dev channel, which is updated every week. And just for kicks, I also downloaded the Canary channel, which is their nightly builds.
Okay.
So you can test, and I don't know what they're like. I know when I ran the Firefox nightly builds like well over 10 years ago, and there were definitely mornings when your browser would just not work at all.
Yeah.
But what's cool is that I have 3 versions of Edge installed on my system right now, and they all are separate. So if I completely hose one of them, I can still surf the web just fine. So
Okay.
I've got the factory, the version that comes with Windows. I've got the Canary and the Dev. Plus I have Microsoft Edge. I have Firefox. I might even still have Opera kicking around somewhere in the background. Opera, Opera Winfrey. But anyway, the Edge browser, it's pretty cool. There's a Macintosh version coming.
I saw that.
And I think a Linux version coming as well, I forget. But the big thing that I heard about, and I only heard this on one podcast, and I don't know if this was just a rumor or whatnot, but supposedly Edge's backwards compatibility mode, like Internet Explorer has a compatibility mode.
Right.
Supposedly Internet Explorer was going to be the compatibility mode, so that when you click on a link to, say, your corporate intranet, which requires Internet Explorer 6, you would get an IE instance spun up in a tab. And you still have a dog.
Yeah.
But I haven't actually seen any evidence of that being real, so I don't know if that was just a rumor. So if any of our listeners have actually seen evidence of that, I'd be really curious. Yeah. But anyway, I'm just tickled, when I see Microsoft do stuff like this. It's compared to where they were just even like 5 years ago or 10 years ago. It's just amazing. Yep. We actually embrace open source. No, we're not actually just saying that. We'll actually contribute some stuff too. And yeah, we'll make cross-platform software again. And it's kind of interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I hadn't heard of that. Well, they're kind of swimming against the grain to not embrace these kind of things.
Right. But that's what they did for decades.
Yeah.
Microsoft saw open source as a plague that needed to be rid from the internet. Well, this is before the internet. So.
Well, that's what you do when you're the 800-pound gorilla.
Bingo.
And now that Chrome is cut into them.
Yeah. We don't want competition.
Yeah. Mac has cut into them. VMware, while it's not even an operating system, they've cut into shares of the things that they could do. Hyper-V. No, I'm going to use VMware. We're good. So somebody says we should probably evolve.
Yep. Satya Nadella. Satya Mania. Gotta love it. Seems like a pretty decent high note. Should we end on that?
Yeah. Well, and I'll give one more prop to Microsoft since we're on a high note.
Let's be positive.
The Intune, Microsoft Intune, and Microsoft Azure, and there's another component for rapid implementation of it, but that's not what it's called. They've really made some serious progress about taking the domain to the internet, being able to run an enterprise without having to have domain controllers on premise.
Oh yeah.
So they're making some progress there. My only problem is I wish there was more information available to it. And, this is the world in which we live. And, I'm finding out about it because I'm having to hunt it down, for crying out loud.
I think it's hilarious. You've got a dog.
But so there's some cool stuff there that I'm really working on, and Microsoft is really hitting kind of a custom or the cutting edge on that kind of thing.
Yep.
Well, it's 20-year-old technology becoming perfected.
Well, it's like, when I started doing migrations to lots of different programs back in the day, like specifically ERP and accounting softwares and stuff, almost every time the first version that I would take from moving from DOS to something was a DOS version that showed up in a Windows box, and then they like, oh, well, now you can actually click in here with a mouse. Oh, now you can have drop-down menus. Oh, now, okay, we'll get around to really writing a custom version.
We'll write a GUI.
Rewriting stuff takes effort. I understand. So this is why I am not a developer.
Well, all right.
Well, on the happy note of me not being a developer, I think we should wrap it up.
I think we should wrap it up. So, all right. We do want your feedback. If you'd like to discuss a particular topic or if we have stated something incorrectly, send those messages to Peter at blurring. That won't get you anywhere, so I'm just joking. Drop us a line at www.blurringthelinespodcast.com. Contact us. It's on our brand new WordPress page. And we'll get the message and get back with you or communicate back to you via our podcast. Good thing we have one.
It is. All right, everybody. Talk to you all next time. Send your feedback. Again, as Adam said, I need to just go. I can't. I should find a sub for yoga class tonight, but it's close, so I can handle that. But I don't think I'm going to actually see Infinity Endgame again. I'm too tired.
Peter has fallen asleep during the Shavasana.
I wouldn't be the only one. I almost always have people fall asleep during my All right, on that note, seriously, thanks for listening, everybody. We will talk to you again next week, if not sooner. And Adam, I'll let you do the honors.
I'm going to hit the big red button.
We need to have a bomb.
Yeah, an explosion.
To contact either us or our guests, visit blurringthelinespodcast.com. If you like what you're hearing, do us a solid and subscribe to our podcast. And leave us a 5-star review in iTunes, Google Play Store, or wherever you found us.